Oh, look at that perfect timing. Check that out. So I thought maybe today we would do some cool stuff. Make sure everything's sounding okay first. I guess it would have been better to check that before I was playing all that music for you. It's down just a smidge here. My kid was in here messing with the camera. He couldn't believe he could see himself. Oh, I need to change the... Bear with me here, if you do not mind, please. It's gotten brighter outside since I set my camera up. Does that help? Boop. A little bit. No, I'll leave that on. And then we'll take saturation down. Alright, that should help a little bit. I'll bring it up a little bit more. There we go. Alright. Sit here messing with it all day. Alright. A little with the... Oh, I heard... Hold on, you're gonna hear double for a second. That's good. Let's see. Sounds like some unwarmed up hands is what it sounds like. Some unwarmed. Alright, good. So that's good. We're good on that. So I'm gonna play a little bit, and then I'm gonna try to. So I want to go over this Paul Gilbert GIT video. I think today. There's a video of him teaching in at GIT in a classroom, and he goes over some stuff that I find to be pretty unknown things, which is surprising to me. Like, for example, the thing I talked about in my last video, the Steven Toronto video, where we have the super secret E chord, and that's at the end of... It's at the end of, what is that song? Oh man, I can't remember. All the names kind of blend together. That's not Street Lethal. I think Street Lethal's yeah, but let me give me 1 second. I'm just gonna close this blind real quick. Off my guitar so crazy like. Alright, there we go. Boom. Oh, that's way better. Okay. So I'm gonna warm up for a couple minutes. I've got my pedal board actually set up in a decent spot now, right underneath the desk right here, so I can like actually push the one. So I have 2 gain pedals hooked up. I got a Ditto looper, which I suppose I won't really use too much, but I have it set up. It seems to mess with the overall sound of the guitar quality, because I have it going at the end of my pedal board, not through the loop. I was having some issues with the loop. I think this amp particularly sounds better with nothing in the loop for some reason. It like kills the sound and the tone just a little bit, or at least just enough for me to just use the onboard reverb. And then there's some reverb on my DAW as well, which we're listening to right now. But yeah, excuse me. So I'm just gonna play for a couple minutes. I've got this blues. So I use my blues driver. It's probably like my main one. I'm on the you can see the yellow light. I guess you can't. There's a crunch. I'm on the crunch setting of the TSL right now, and the it seems to be like more full sounding than the. So like here, I'll play the other one for you. Might be a little bit quieter, loud. And then the crunch with the blues driver, I think sounds better. It's like the blues driver acts as this like this really cool like treble boost almost. And so I've been digging that. So that's what I've been using for my for the crunch channel, and then of course turning that off and then switching to the mid position, which this guitar is really great for that. It's pretty surprising actually. It gets a more stratty tone than you'd expect out of a 2 humbucker guitar. And I've had another 2402, AZ2402, just like this. Not nearly as cool as this, but it had the regular 5-way switch with the toggle. I only ever found myself using positions 4, and then of course 1 and 5. Neck and bridge full, and then 4 was a split. I can't remember if it was an outer split or an inner split, but this one seems to have a much more exaggerated split, a much nicer, like stratty kind of feel. I think that sounds excellent as far as like what you could really achieve out of like a 2-humbucker guitar. I had a what was it called? Blacktop, a Fender Blacktop back in the day, and I really enjoyed that guitar. I actually have a video. One of my biggest viewed videos was showing the Blacktop Strat off. And I was playing it through a Vintage Modern. Just on my phone, I went to the back of the music shop where I was working at the time, and I just set the phone up on the rack behind me and just played a little bit. And I woke up the next morning and it had like 12,000 views, and it was because everybody was looking for videos of the Blacktop Strat. It's like we got them like 2 or 3. We were like one of the #1 Fender dealers, and so we got all the cool FSR and like newer stuff, and we'd get it a couple days before anybody, and I didn't know I wasn't supposed to make a video on there. We didn't really know. Nobody said anything to me, but I suppose it was one of those things where it really shouldn't have been out yet technically, but I made the video and put it up on my channel, and boom, tons of views out of nowhere. But that thing had a really great split sound as well, 2-humbucker guitar, of course, and that I think that 4, that 2 position was the same thing this one's doing. This, of course, is the Marcos Fogli signature model, which you gotta love the guy. There's nothing on the headstock, no signature or anything on the headstock or anywhere. There's only like one. It's the back plate is the only thing that has any sort of mark on it at all. And I love it because technically this is just a Prestige 2402 with a flame maple top and a better pickup system in my opinion. Volume knob moved down so it's out of the way. I'll probably eventually get rid of the tone knob. I feel like the tone knob, just in my own humble opinion, sucks a little bit of the tone out, even just being part of the circuit. They make these new pots, potentiometers that are like, when you turn them to 0, they're not even part of the circuit anymore, which I think is really cool. Or turn them to 10, I guess. And so I think that's really cool, but also I'm somebody who, I'll probably move the volume down to here and figure out a way to fill that hole up. That's right there. But for myself, I would just have one volume knob. But I'm not I'm not that intricate of a guitar player, I guess, to be able to necessitate. I always get I should say Yngwie himself, he always disconnects the tone as well. I just watched an interview the other day of it, and that kind of gave me affirmation. It made me feel way better about the fact that I do the same, especially because he said the same thing I did. He was like, look man, it's a way to like muffle your guitar more. Why wouldn't you just have a full signal from your guitar and then get the sound you want out of your amp, right? Any song that I want to go play or whatever, I'm not saying I'm gonna go change the stuff on the amp every single song, but there's other ways of getting around it without having to do anything on your guitar. But other people have different thoughts on that, which is totally cool. So that's kind of my thought on it. But this particular split is excellent. Like even I play like all the same Hendrix stuff all the time. It's really cool to have that ability, like especially for somebody like myself who's a guitar teacher. I'll go down and I'll be teaching students, and this is the sound. Like I want to turn. They have like a little Vox. I think it's like a 5-watt. I think it's called the Rhythm or something like that. It's a really good sounding amp, all analog, really cool. And I think they're still going for over $200. They're really great amps for like a little practice amp, and they got a lot of stuff built in, which is really cool. But that being said, though, it is just a little analog amp. Doesn't compare to my 100-watt Marshall behind me, right? But I go down there and I set it the same way as if I had my Marshall. I turn it on the distortion setting that I want. Right? And then I simply go and click it to this, a little bit of volume, and boom, there's my teaching. There's my teaching sound for like my younger kids and stuff. Which that's my favorite thing to be able to do. And of course, that's a stem from being a Paul Gilbert convert, I guess, to do everything on the guitar, volume controlling how much distortion you have, kind of thing. But anyways, so that's I have the blues driver to be able to, which is off right now, and this is just let me actually tune for a second. So I have the blues driver, which is really, that's what it does for me. It takes my crunch channel and turns it into my lead channel. And the cool thing about this amp is, and I'm really, really, really above all other amps I've ever had, and I've had quite a few actually. I've had a lot of Marshalls. I've had a 900, a dual super lead, like one of the original ones, and a vintage modern. And then I also had like Tiny Terror. I had the OR15. I've had a bunch of different things. Played with my buddies Bogner, Ubershaw, a whole bunch. Like we lived in the same house and stuff. So if I wanted to use it, I'd just go grab it if I wanted to. The Eddie Van Halen 5153, like one of the original ones. I've had the Randall RM80. I have a whole bunch of stuff, man. But this one for me, this one amp, I plug it in. I put everything EQ wise right in the middle. And man, that's just my sound right there. I might have to tweak, a little bit here and there or whatever, but it's as good as it gets. So I know if I put it on the lead channel, there's probably no problem with finding whatever sounds I'm getting out of the blues driver. But it's nice to have one. I don't have a channel switch, so it's nice to have that one click to go from my nice crunch. Let's play a different AC/DC song. Oh, what's the? I think it's something like that. But to have that and then be able to still go right into my right into my Van Halen stuff is really great. And that's with the blues driver on, and I have it set to where like the gain's all the way down and then up like just the tiniest little bit, and then the volume's probably 3/4 and the tone is just barely back a little bit. But then I also have a spark boost. The spark boost is pretty cool because it is really just a clean boost the way I have it set up right now. It is adding gain technically, and it's adding volume, but this gets like a really nice. There's less treble there too, but it's a nice even push to the It's really full sounding. I might have the gain just a little bit high there. But it's really full sounding, especially with my Strat. That's the one I go to because the Strat's already really chimey anyway. So then I have a nice Good Vibes, which is really nice for the pretty much any kind of clean stuff you're doing here. I think it's pretty cool. Really adds like a nice little warble to it. So, all right, I'm gonna warm up for a couple minutes here as I'm rambling. I've also been feeling like this pick's been letting me down just a little bit. Had a couple of missed picks there that I felt like if I had a longer pick in my hand, it would be easier, but it's like, it's really just an excuse because if you look at a lot of these players that are like really, really good players, a good example is Baxty. If you guys haven't heard about Baxty, I found Baxty from Steve in Toronto. I really hope I'm saying his name right. Taranto, it might be Taranto. I don't know. I think I saw Baxty comment on one of his videos or something, and then I saw Baxty's page, and he is incredible. That's not his real name, obviously. It's just his handle on Instagram. But the guy is absolutely incredible. Actually, let's watch one of his videos real quick, just so it's on here, and I have reference for things. Baxty. Yeah, he is. This guy is outlandish with his abilities of picking. His name is Sebastian Martinez. Baxty is, I guess, what his nickname is. Super cool. And some of these picking things he's doing. So he is very obviously a fan of Stephen Toronto. And he specifically, which is really cool, is that he can do almost everything that Steven's been doing. And then also, he comes up with his own like little compositions and etudes, and he always posts a slower video next. So it's like, for somebody like myself, I definitely think that it's important to slow stuff down. I think YouTube's really good for that, because these days you can just slow things down to 0.25 and see exactly what they're doing, listen really close to what they're doing, because YouTube doesn't crush the audio. I don't know how they do it, but they keep the audio the same, which is really advantageous for people like us who are trying to do the Troy Grady thing, right? And if you guys haven't heard about that, Troy Grady used to go and take his little Casio keyboard and get these like REH videos and stuff, and he could record like some minute amount of time, like something like, a couple seconds at a time, and would like go, and when they play it back, it would make the audio go from to like, as it does when you slow it down, right? But YouTube is excellent, and it allows you to keep the audio sounding the same, so you could just play with it if you wanted to. If you slow somebody who's keeping some, maybe like an Yngwie, like a or something, something along those lines, where you're trying to figure out, it'll sound like that, maybe a little gurgled in the shifts, but you could go and just decipher it that way. It's really great. So let's just see Baxty for a second here. Let's do this. Properties. Oops, not that one. All right. So let's do this one. Oh, sorry about that. So he's got he talks about this too. It does sound a lot like, that's funny, Neural is the one that commented that. That's awesome. But it does sound like a Zelda. But he talks about how he has this like a setting, I guess it's within Neural, that he has this setting, but you can hear it's got like this like chimey thing that's going on too. It's like maybe like a clav or something that's going on down below, and then also it sounds like a like one of those like little cheap keyboards too up top in the best way. Super cool stuff. And the way he sequences his stuff like that, like I surmise he's probably writing it out like in Guitar Pro or something, at least at first, but then it's like he writes it and then learns it instantly, and I think that's probably why he's been able to push himself to this level. It's just incredible. Let's watch one more and then we can move on to some other things. Let's do maybe this one. Oh, that's him playing glass So watch his hand here. You can see the shifts. And he picks it up and down. Like, see, he's trying to escape the strings on an upstroke there. He's got to escape it on a downstroke when he's descending, right? So it's common two-way pixeling. Same thing you see in Toronto's. And of course, he's cross-picking here when he shows it slow, because it's really only a technique you use when you're going faster, right? So different. So he's having to hop that string right in the middle there. Right there, right? Which is super cool, man. Oh, that's a cool way to play that. I always play that like, let's see, what's it? That sounded like it was dominant to me. Maybe he's going, no, maybe that's not dominant. Yeah, let's do it again, actually. Damn. Oh, that's a super cool way to play that, actually. And watch, I'll play it slow for you, too. Really cool. So that had... So I see, so he's just reaching up higher. What would be the way to... Maybe that. So that'd be the way that I would usually play it, is this. it's the way that I see that is I'm looking at, and that is simply like a dominant shape, right? I'm thinking about my major 1, right? Major 3 and 5, right? And in that, I'm thinking of putting minor 7 in there as well, right? Minor 7, 1 and 2, major 3, 4, 5. It's the same way, because of course we're in G major here, right? Oops, sorry. So it's like it invokes this bluesy sound, but that's really cool because he's doing that kind of thing. Maybe we could force a switch. No, sorry, it's twice in a row I did that. That's a cool one. And then force a shift to B, which would be really cool. And kind of keep it the same. Yeah, man, this guy's incredible. If you haven't seen Backstein, go give him a follow, man. It's a huge source of inspiration, a really cool source of inspiration. All right, so yeah, let me play for a minute here. And I could actually go, I should probably show some of those shapes too, since we just started talking about them, and then we can move on to some Paul Gilbert stuff. And the thing that I was going to show anyways. And I was talking, as I get sidetracked here, I was talking about the picks too. So I, just in my own playing, sometimes feel like this pick, which is just a Dunlop Flow, and it's a 1mm, 1.0. And I played for the longest time. I don't know if I have, I have one laying right here actually. Well, actually, this is a thinner one than I usually play. This is a 0.6. But I played the old Tex picks, and I like the bigger, I don't know. I have a bigger hand. Let me grab this real quick. I have a bigger hand, and so just for me, the bigger picks have always been what I gravitated to. I feel like I can get more grip on the string in this. I don't know. Like I have more grip on the pick and more ability to get deeper and shallower into the string. I don't know if you guys had watched technical or not technical. Geez. Intense Rock. Intense Rock. Paul Gilbert's Intense Rock. He talks about doing the main lick, right? His main. Right, and he talks about making it really dynamic, so doing it soft. And then really hard, right? And he says what he's doing there is he's actually using more or less of the pick. So he's bringing the pick into the string more, or he's bringing it out of the string a little bit, right? For me in my own playing, it's not, I don't think about it so much like that. I think about it more. I think there's less velocity as well that comes with it, but you know, I've always gravitated to the bigger picks because of that. And here is the other pick that I'm switching between, which is a excuse me. One of the prime tone Dunlops, right? And it's very similar. It's made out of the same material, which is a type of Old Tex, go figure, as I come from the Old Tex picks. A type of Old Tex, but you can see it's pretty significantly smaller than the Flow, right? And the Flow even has, let me get it on the tip there so you can see. Yeah, so it's a little bit, that's a pretty significant amount of difference there for somebody like myself. And the Flow actually has like the picks like the pick curves in here a little bit, right? This one doesn't. This one's shaped like regular, but it does have like beveled edges, which is pretty cool. But I think this one is much more similar. Like this is almost the same exact pick, right? The bigger one, at least, is almost the same exact pick as my Old Tex, right? Versus going to a smaller one in the Flow, which is what I thought I wanted to do. But you see how I missed that little bit at the bottom there, just that little bit there. That to me, sometimes in my alternate picking endeavors, I feel like I need more in this weird way. And so I've been trying to find a good pick home. I knew I wanted to go a little bit thicker than the 0.73, and the standard flows are like 1.14 or something like that, and I found that to be even too thick, and 1.0 is kind of where I landed. I still get just a tiny bit of bend, which I want. Yngwie would say that's not what you want. I think he uses like 2mm or something like that, regular Dunlops. nylons. But for me, just for me, it's my own opinion. The Oltec sounds so cool on the strings, and it feels. I don't know. I think it's got better tone to it, which we're talking about tone of a pick at this point, and I think I'm going a little crazy here. But I find, I don't know, just for myself, whenever I would go, when I was working at the music shop, I'd go and I'd play acoustic guitars, and every time I'd go play acoustic guitar, it was an Oltec. And me and one of the girls that worked at the shop, Lacey, would always talk about it, like, man, it just sounds better. It's got this like brighter but fuller sound every time you'd play with one, and so I would gravitate towards those. And I was like, well, why am I not using this on electric guitar? Why would you not? It would just make sense, wouldn't it? And so inevitably, I've kind of come to the point where that's what I'm doing. Sulfur, what's up, buddy? Why is my chat not showing up? Oh, there we go. I see you now. I'm sorry, I had it on top chat, not live chat. Sulfur, I hope you're good, dude. You got anything you've been working on, my friend? I think today what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go over. I have a Paul Gilbert video pulled up. It's like when he was teaching at GIT. I'm gonna go over that one. Like it's one that I feel like not a ton of people know about. That's what I was just talking about not that long ago. At least some of the intricacies he's talking about, which I think are really cool guitar things. So I'm gonna go over that. But I hope you're doing well, dude. Sulfur, and if you're still here, man, do me a favor and let me know if you think everything sounds okay, or if you have any. Because the funny thing is I'm peaking just the slightest little bit in OBS, but if I turn it down past that, everything gets too quiet, and it seems like it's not. But I never hear it peaking though when I go back and listen to the videos, which is kind of funny. So I don't I don't worry about it. Hey, cool, man. All right, well, I appreciate that, dude. Dang, I don't know why it's not showing me all of the chat here. Let's do. Oh, there we go. Actually, that should be. No, don't do that. So OBS is super cool and all, but this is kind of weird. Let me get rid of that. Let's bring out a pop-up. There we go. All right, cool, man. I appreciate you saying that, though, because I don't know if you saw my stream yesterday. It was just a little brief one, but I've been trying to figure out. Go. I've been trying to I changed everything over to regular OBS, which has been really great, actually. I feel like I've got everything looks better, sounds better, feels better. I have way more information up here. I've got nice little transitions. Whoop, whoop. I have a lot more ability to do stuff here, is what it sounds like. So, and feels like too. So, that's what I've been doing. Let me see, get that back up there. There we go. Cool. All right, so let me play for another minute here. I got this video pulled up here. We can go over a couple other things too. Nice. All right, cool. But yeah, so the pick thing, anyways, I'm trying to, the descending has been killing me because I feel like I got too much pick on my descending. Like right there, you can hear I missed that. That upstroke is killing me with the bigger pick. With the smaller pick, it's not so bad. The flow feels like it moves out of the way a little bit. At least a little bit more than the bigger one does. But I think the bigger one's more advantageous for most other things. Like right there, that I feel like I can have more pick to be able to drag across. Yeah, but I'm digging it, man. All right, so I guess I'll use a bigger pick for a little bit. It tripped me up just a little bit. You can hear a couple little flubs there, and it's just enough for me to want to change it up, but I think I'll stick with it for a little bit. So let's look at this video here. Let me pull this up real quick. So let me put on some music for a second while I'm doing this. So I don't know if you guys caught the beginning of the stream, but I was playing stuff from my. It's a really crappy demo, to be frank with you. Nothing is really done well. They're all a bunch of like stand-in solo leads that I did like one time improv'd, and they just stood there, and then I kept them with it. And my buddy Lee, who is the bassist, is a phenomenal bass player, but like we've only got together like 2 or 3 times to really record on this, and so it's been like it's all stand-in stuff, and it's not EQ'd properly or anything, but there's some cool stuff, I think. Let's see, put on something real quick. Maybe this one. What's this one? No, let's do this one. Yeah, listen to this for just 1 second while I sort this out. You hear the string noise in between there and stuff. Jesus, so bad. Oops. Pretty close. All right, that's enough of that. All right, so let me do, I wonder if that's going to change. It will. That kind of stinks that I don't have. Oh, there we go. Okay, cool. That'll work. All right, so let's talk about this. No, don't do that. Why'd you do that? Growing pains here. Sorry, guys. If I let the chat dock, like actually dock, it messes everything up for some reason, and I don't know why. All right, we'll do that. That'll work. All right, so let's do this. There we go. All right, we're getting it. We're doing it. So let's play this. So this whole video is him just in the classroom. Excuse me, I am definitely coming down with something. He's just in the classroom giving demos on stuff. This is the 1987, which is the year I was born. I'll just tell you how long ago this was. All right, there we go. I think this is absolute peak level Paul Gilbert. There's another video of his. Let me hide this. I'll just have this pulled up as well. Hide this real quick. There's another video of his as well where he is. He's in his house, and he actually talked about this briefly. Give me 1 second. Get a good cough out there, so I don't have to bother you guys anymore. But there's this one where he has this. There was a bunch of like reporters, and he said it was like some guys from Young Guitar from Japan who came over and were asking him to play stuff, and he's just ripping through stuff, man. Let's see. And I think you can just type in Young Paul Gilbert and it'll come up. Yeah, it's literally the first one if you type in Young Paul Gilbert. But this is just him at his house. Playing through the Marshall, he got stolen. Which, if you haven't heard that story, it's pretty incredible. So you can see our boy here is an upward pick slanter. And I surmise there's a lot of people who've done a lot of Paul Gilbert stuff, and I'm not claiming to be. But I was like really obsessed with all the stuff this guy did when I was first starting out on guitar, primarily because I thought it was the perfect technique. However, I got into playing guitar on that next level when I was like, before YouTube was coming about. It was back when everybody was still on like the John Petrucci forums and stuff, and I was just starting out, so I wasn't nearly good enough to go and try to do anything there. There's no way you would find me posting anything of myself on those, which is of course, go figure, right? As I'm sure we all could relate to when we first start out. I was still doing Crazy Train solo and stuff like that, but I was getting there, and I was really getting into Paul Gilbert, and so I remember finding a lot of different stuff like through downloading, like we'll call it like the torrent downloads. I'm sure you guys know what I'm talking about. I don't like accuse myself too much here. I give too much away. But I would get a bunch of torrents of the, and I remember the first one I ever downloaded I was just looked up guitar videos, and this guy's name was Paul Gilbert. And I'm like, what? That's a heck of a name, man. This guy, a guitar player named Paul Gilbert. That's a really heck of a name. And every time you hear Gilbert, you want to associate that, not to be callous or anything, but like with like a nerd. And I think about it was like this nerd playing guitar or something. Boy, oh boy, was dumb young Adam really proven wrong there, because it was Paul Gilbert's Tokyo solo. And man, it was such an eye-opening thing for me. So then I was hooked, of course, and I was finding all these things. And this was one of the downloads I got, was this particular video. And I remember like sitting back and being like, man, this is, I'll never be there, But he gives, when YouTube came around, that set me on the road of going and finding every single thing Paul Gilbert I could find. And I went and I was watching all his interviews, and he talks about how he had like a lesson or two lessons with a particular guitar teacher. And he didn't go back to see this guitar teacher, but he for some reason got the idea that you could only pick up. So he was strumming like all his chords just up, right? And so I surmise that the reason why he's an upward pick slanter, if you can see the way he's even holding the pick even here, I think he's like 19 or something here, or maybe even younger. Even there, for those chords where he's having to do down, he's still kind of going to the downstroke and coming back to his upward pick slant, which I think is a really cool thing to pick out here, right? And would make a lot of sense why the only thing he ever talked about is outside picking, which is an upward pick slanting motion, right? The outside picking, as we talked about last time, and a good lick that we talked about, is taking maybe like a string skip or something and picking outside it like that, right? That's the upstroke on this string and then a downstroke on the new notes. The standard Paul Gilbert string skip is like a root, major 3, or minor 3. You can do either one you want. But root 3, 5, and then 1 and 3 again when you get to the top. Right? Little patterns within there. But to do a downward pick slant and pick that would be difficult, because you're having to catch the new string on an upstroke, right? And then come all the way down here. You can do all 3 downs too, which is what he does. But I like catching that new string on an upstroke so we can get back down. Right? So that would kind of force me to have that downward pick slant after I do that upstroke. I can't keep that upward pick slant. I would catch the strings as I come up to try to get that G string, right? So I have to flip my pick over to get to that G string. And so inevitably, he talks about only doing outside picking. He talks about it with his lick, right? Up, down between the strings, right? But I think it's only because he was so comfortable with doing the opposite, which is the upstroke on the new string. And as we talked about in other lives, this is like the bane of most downward pick slanters' existence. That's why we need to be two-way pick slanters, or as Troy puts it, and I keep using the old term, but two-way escape motion players, right? Let me just type here real quick. Hello. All right, so my chat is not updating, and I don't know why. If you are talking, I am so sorry. All right, good. At least it's on the screen. I'll be able to see it on the screen when it pops up. So one thing I haven't sorted out yet. All right, so getting back to this, the upward and downward pick slanting thing is the important thing, and I think the reason why he hasn't talked about it is because he was, as I was saying, so used to doing the upward pick slanting when he does all his normal licks. So you can see it here, though, right? You can see he tips his hand up. And you could see the bounce, just like we see in most two-way pick slanters there, right? He has to do that to be able to play all the notes. He has to get out and then back in. And you can see it in my hand there too. You can see when I have to get back to that downstroke, up and then back into that downstroke there, and it's pretty apparent. But look, big upward pick slants here, and so he's definitely catching that new string on an upstroke here, whereas I would want to do like a even skip that upstroke, or something like that, you know. What's funny is he talks about that lick. That's the lick he used to play before he said somebody, and we'll get to it in the video, but he said somebody came to the school and showed him. I can't even do it. The picking twice. And that's how he was started descending instead of doing it like this. Alright, but we will fast forward to, there it is again, right? Oh, that's a really cool one. If you guys don't know that one, I can show it to you real quick. It's Toccata and Fugue. Where's he playing it at? It's a half step low, by the way. That's a really cool one. It's actually really easy too. It seems like it's more challenging. The only challenge there is that instead of what our hands are used to is when we pick, we want our hand, our fingers. The whole point of doing this picking thing is to sync your hands up, right? We're not the guys who are doing, there's tremolo picking, which is separate from what I'm talking about in a second here, but we're like, that's separate notes. I'm picking a certain amount of notes per string, but I don't know if you guys have ever been privy to the guys who say they're really good shred, like, oh yeah, I can shred, man. And they just get this hand going as fast as they can and just do whatever they can here. They don't sync their hands up at all. That is definitely not the way to go about it. You want to try to sync the hands up as much as possible. As I digress here, what he's doing here for this is the opposite, kind of. Instead of like having the finger move as you go to your next pick, right? We're kind of we're having to do the opposite of that. Where we're having to hit our finger here and then pick our finger up, right? Which is a tough thing to do. It's a little bit of like a tongue twister for your fingers, if you will. So this is really simple though. All we're playing is it's the same thing on both strings. And we're just tapping every time we would pick, we're tapping. So it's, actually, I'll just hold this, get used to it. And you're seeing as I'm tapping, that's when I'm moving my fingers over here, which is it feels opposite of what you're usually used to. So he does it twice, A string and then D string, or maybe it's D and G. He's on a G string. So what's interesting here is I have a program. If you guys haven't heard of this program, you should definitely check it out. It's called Transpose. And what it does is you can literally take any audio. It's a Chrome plugin. And I would suggest every guitar player has this, because it really doesn't, until you get to like a bunch of steps off, it doesn't really degrade the audio at all, which is really cool. And it's super useful. I don't know if you guys have ever been in the same position before where, like, I almost bought a pedal, like a $200 pedal, to compensate for this, like the whammy pedals. They have the Digitech Drop, I think is what it's called, and it'll let you tune your guitar, to whatever you want to be tuned to, without having to change the tuning of the actual guitar, right? Well, usually the reason I would do that is because I'd want to play with a song that's like a half step low. And most stuff I go to play that's like metal stuff is indeed a half step low. And it's always debilitating because it's tough to play with it. There's no real way to, you have to go find like a backing track. And inevitably, I'm sure everybody's been in the same boat as me where it's like you have to, going and finding the backing track is extremely difficult. Like not many people make them for some of the songs that I was doing. And so having this tool is really useful. So I can transpose this, and it's not going to change the video. It might make the latency be a little bit off. Like you'll hear the sound a little bit after he taps, but I'll put it up one half step. We'll go back and listen to it, and it'll sound like he's. Yeah. So how cool is that? So now I can play with this video if I want to. I've set it up half a step. His guitar is tuned half a step low. The original audio is a half step low, but now I have that transpose tool working for me. Really cool stuff. Let's skip around a little bit. We'll get back to the GIT video, I promise. Those harmonics eluded me for a long time. Oh, sorry. They eluded me for a very long time. I didn't know what he was doing there. It's the same thing with all this, like, you know, this hand's becoming almost like a bass player would use it, you know, in that muting way. Which I think is really cool. But I heard him play it here, and I was just floored. I was like, what in the world? Incredible. Oh, there it is. This is such a cool song. Let's see if he does the thing. So I was looking back at this, and I watched Ben Eller's lesson on it as well. If you don't know Uncle Ben, you should go check him out. He's really cool too. He's got a lot of really good lessons. He's been in the guitar community for a long time, and he actually plays with Andy Wood in a what's Steel Panther type cover band, which is really great. And if you guys don't know Andy Wood, whew, Andy Wood is incredible. And so anyways, I was going back and I was trying to figure out this song, right? And so I was doing it, and I was like, I wonder what. So I figured it out to what I thought was the best. You know, I hadn't listened to the album, but I like figured it out off of this video, and then I like just off of like. I don't know if you guys do the same thing as me, but it's like something will pop in your head while you're playing, and then like you'll kind of sit there and try to figure it out just based off of memory, right? And so this is what my memory of it was. Yep. Something to that degree, right? I went and I watched Ben play it, and it's funny because I'm gonna double check it here in just a second. I haven't seen this video in a while. It'd be cool to see if it actually exists here. And I went back and listened to the audio, and the audio sounds like going. He's got those two C notes in between. And of course, why wouldn't he be playing it the typical Eddie Van Halen way? Yeah. That's what he does, right? It's a very typical thing. I always do he always does the Hendrix chord version, which is like an F, I guess, or the bottom of your E chord, right? I don't know if you guys are familiar with this, but this is, you know, Hendrix would play this chord like this, right? This is kind of the way he plays. So, and you know, I guess you can consider it be kind of like an F shape, right? Right, but you know, even when we come down here and play F like this, it's just the bottom of the E chord, right? Of the E shape, I should say, right? Right. That's all we're doing pretty much. And so it's funny to see that Eddie always played this shape as well. And I think there's like a dichotomy between Eddie's music and Jimmy's music, but they're both, of course, kind of bound to the same instrument, using the guitar as a surrogate for their own musicianship, which is super cool to see something like that pop out between the two. And that being said, he also uses the A shape a lot, right? A major or A minor shape, right? If you don't know your cage method, you should go check it out. It's a cool way to surmise these things. So, you know, this kind of thing, right? So anyways, we'll listen to it in a second here. This is how Ben said it should be played. Something to that degree, right? So let's see if Paul does the same thing. So no, he's doing like, I don't know if he leaves it. He's doing what I did. That's what. But I think he is going and playing it like that. But I think it's this, which it is kind of the same thing, right? Instead of doing the Funk 49. Which that's kind of what that sounds like. Or maybe it's like the Jack and Diane thing. That kind of sound. I think that's what he's doing here. Such a cool riff, man. Such a cool riff. I think it's somebody give me a doctor, somebody bring me a doctor or something like that. Send me a doctor. Oh! So I did get that from this then. I definitely got that from this. And of course, Paul is just learning this based off the album. And that, of course, that little lick. So you can just do the way I think about this lick. And actually, I learned it from Frenzy, which that's where he uses this lick at. And I don't play it quite like this anymore. I think the way to play this would probably be so you can get a repetition of certain things, which is more like the Mario. I can't remember his last name, but it's Mario from Chan. Made a video way back in the day where he showed all these positions. Showed all these positions, which was really helpful to me. And you know, of course, it follows the pattern of the major scale. Which, if you don't know what I mean, type in chat and I'll explain it to you. But yeah, so he in this way, I would say this is kind of like the C way to play it, right? Sorry. So we're kind of just rolling up, or it's like playing an A. I'm sorry, it's like an A minor, right? But that shape right there. Should be super familiar to you as a guitar player, I think. That is kind of like Yngwie territory. He'd even do like something like he'd probably do something like that. But you see this a lot. It's a really cool way to be able to get that full A minor sound, or just any minor, I guess, wherever we move it, right? In this case, A. But a cool way to play this, just like a straight up kind of lick, is hammer on. Yeah, kind of like that. And so he's gonna tap. So and that's a pretty easy thing to do too, because we're thinking A minor. And all we have to do here is we just have to, with our fingers, tap that out. Which is relatively easy to do once you get used to it. It's just a matter of doing it up. You know, and then figure out what you want to do after it. But the second way, or I should say third way, but the in-between way that I learned how to do it was Jason Becker style, or I guess you could say Richie Kotzen. Now, what's funny is I tried to learn Frenzy just by ear, which is a task beyond me, that's for sure. But there's something like that. It's close to that. At least that's what I thought, or I heard the song and then didn't listen to the song for a long time, and then kind of was like remembering what he did there, and it was something like oh man, I think he picks the notes separately, so it's gonna be like I think that's what he's doing, is just picking the notes separately like that. Sweeping them down like this. I'm not positive, to be honest with you. But I thought that sounded cooler. And I want to go all the way down. I shouldn't say I thought it sounded cooler. That thought of mine wouldn't have existed without it being the original being done, and so that obviously is the cooler one. I shouldn't have said it like that, but my point is that you could make it sound the same, so on and so forth. But I thought the whole little, and so that's how I would play mine. I would just use my ring finger instead, which I saw Jason Becker do when he was doing Serrana. Man, I suck at sweeps, but I saw him using his ring finger to do that that kind of hammer on there. So I figured I could do it here too. Come to find out, that's how he does all of them like that. But that's a cool way to play it too. Now, in that same vein of what he's doing there, though, you know, it's funny. It came from Eddie, of course, and right there, he's pushing the string onto. He's got a Seymour Duncan mini humbucker, and he's pushing it onto the humbucker. So it's like I could do like a what's the note I could do? Like, you know, you could push the string onto it to get that higher note. It's pretty cool.
An Eddie man for a long, long time.
He sounds so young. All right. Oh, that's a cool one too. What is that? There's been a few songs that he's played, like in the place that I heard them was him playing them, which I think is hilarious. Like especially, like I never heard Somebody Give Me a Doctor until like a couple years ago even, and it was all from this video. And so I always played it wrong, and I always like remembered it the way that he played it, which is kind of funny. Same thing with this song, and same thing with what's the other one I was just thinking about? Oh, I can't remember, but you know, these various songs, you know, it's kind of funny that that's the first place I had heard them. Oh, you know, I was just thinking about it. It's let me get the right sound here. Robin Trower. I didn't even know about Robin Trower. All I had ever heard was Paul Gilbert playing Robin Trower. I had never even listened to him, which is me just being a dumb kid. But, you know, it's going to get you into. There's another one. I always play that too. That's how I used to always play it. It was wrong, right? Same thing. Is that right? I don't think that's right. It's something close to that, though, Steve Vai. Oh, okay, so the Yngwie stuff. Give it a like. So what's cool is they're sitting there asking him just to play stuff. That album came out, this is probably 1985, right? So if he was at the school in 1987, this is probably 1985 or so, maybe even before that. And he's playing the Yngwie album that like just came out. That, by the way, even Yngwie said this in an interview. You couldn't get that album because it was released only in Japan technically, and you could get it, but you had to go to the the music shop and order it specifically, and all these things. And he used to, I think he even says in the interview here. Let's see.
Oh yeah, a lot.
The unauthorized copy or something. He said something like that, like he got the unauthorized copy or something.
Yeah, I got the old unauthorized early copy.
Boom! I nailed it. But he used to talk about Mike Varney like playing it over the phone for him, like playing stuff over the phone. Like, hey man, you ever heard this? And him just being like terrified by it.
Oh, that's classic. I hear you like very Yngwie machine.
Oh yeah, a lot.
Oh, let me see. Sorry.
Can I play Yngwie?
There we go. So let's go to the cooler one. Yeah, this one. the first time I ever heard this lick was here. It's really cool. Oh, he cheated. Oh, even in this video I can hear he cheated. That kind of stinks. I want to alternate pick all that, and so let me show that to you real quick while we're here. This is a cool lick. This is kind of like, it's almost like pedal tone, like the Yngwie, like the normal Yngwie thing, but he's got 2 notes he's keeping up here. So pretty simple, actually, if you think about it, just in terms of like what the notes you have to play. But the lick is very difficult for sure. So now we have a little shift here to these 2 notes, the 2 notes back in the scale, back up, and then we have a big harmonic minor scale, this is a very tough one to play the way that Yngwie plays it, and he's economy picking it from what I remember. Up. Oh yeah. So it's gonna be. No, I'm sorry. No. Sorry. But it's a really tough one because it's odd groupings of notes. 1, 2, descending 4s, I think. Yeah. Yeah, descending 4s. Back to E. What's that one? Oh yeah, so this is a good one too. Yngwie actually just kind of like, I don't want to say ripped off, but he supplanted just like a whole classical piece into his song as a lead, which I think there's nothing wrong with that. I don't think, if you're tipping the hat. I mean, Randy Rhoads did it too. All of Diary of a Madman is like a classical piece. As it stands, they just turned it into a song. The whole intro is literally the classical piece, just by itself, but nobody knew it, of course. And I don't know that Randy took like credit for it as his own kind of thing in the sense, but I know everybody probably gave him credit because it just came out on the album, and I guarantee it was most people's first time hearing that piece, which is interesting to consider. But yeah, anyways, so we're going kind of like a harmonic minor thing, go figure, or like E Phrygian, or Phrygian dominant technically. And we're back to, so we have like a, it's so hard to play slow, I don't know why. And then we have our normal Yngwie kind of thing. So we're doing the a diminished scale 3 times. Sorry about that. Now we're back to our A minor thing. We're just going down to A minor shapes here. So like a. Oh, sorry. And now diminishing it. Which that's, that's all pretty standard stuff, but it's cool to see it pop out here. Not that long after the album was out, and here he is just doing it. Look at that pick slant in there. That sounds perfect. Oh, he played that lick. He played it the hard way actually that time. I think he goes. He's going down to this A. I think he's going like that. But he's going all the way down to that A on the E string. I don't know why. Why he's doing that. It's interesting. Really great. Yeah. Let me see. Oh, yeah. No. Yeah. So that's a typical Yngwie thing too, right? He always goes down. When he starts to go down the scale. And what's funny is Paul himself wrote something very similar to this. What is it? I can't remember what it's called. Gone too far. He has this lick where he goes, right, but he doesn't play it like that. He goes for the long stretch. Yeah. Sorry. Which is debilitatingly tough to have to stretch up to here and then back to here, because you have to. The next note that leads it in is that. So we have. Sorry. I'll play it slow so you can get that. That's not right. Really cool chord. So I said I would play it slow and then I played it fast. Sorry. That's a cool tune, man. And it goes. Really cool song, though.
You heard that one yet? The new album?
New album?
New album. That's hilarious. And he's already playing it, like no problem.
That's a good one.
Really good stuff. Really cool. He's played it like in the wrong spot. It's all the right notes, you know. Let's see what everybody wants to see here. It's the most replayed here.
It's just one of my favorite albums. Like, crazy.
Pretty easy pattern there. Another one that reminds me of is Yngwie uses this one pattern in a bunch of different spots. Let me remember it though. Yeah, okay. In Evil Eye, that's where he... I think it's like, maybe he goes like... No. I think that's what he does there. Something like that. But in Evil Eye, that's how he uses that. But it's a cool pattern. It's like, it's from a classical piece as well. Go figure. But the way he's kind of moved it here is really cool. It just moves into each other each time. Sorry. You can just keep it going on every scale degree, which is really cool. And he has a song that does that too, and it's like do 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 do. Oh man, I can't remember. No, that's the other one. I can't remember. I'm sorry. Moving on. All right, so let's get to this now. So this part I want to specifically talk about comes pretty late here, where he's showing somebody a piece. Yeah. Let me think about this. Fire of Rock. That's what it's called. I gotta like think of the lyrics, man.
You have maybe a Dorian progression. That's what the last. Actually, this isn't Dorian at all. We can do the. Then it goes to the. Then it goes to the dreaded D kind of
So I played this wrong for a while, but I'll still play it the wrong way sometimes. I think this chord, I think that chord sounds cool. You can play it all the way down like that, but you can just play like a D, it's almost like a suspended chord. A D is in the bass right now, technically, right? But it's almost like you're playing a suspension while also keeping D in the bass. Let me tune my guitar. I just put new strings on this yesterday, so now I'm playing these big chords. It's going to definitely show off its out of tuneness. Just E. You turd. This guitar's so good, man. I love this thing. Yeah. So this part, so the song itself is like. My big pick's tripping me up a little bit on that. I have to get used to that. I think I'm going to keep trying to get used to it, though. I used to play that first part, though. So I do the, and I would go, oh, man. That's what I would do. He's got this, like, thing, if you can hear how he plays this, and same thing with the video we were just watching, he always has this ability to like have like those higher notes ring out in this really chimey way that's like really cool.
The dreaded D kind of
You hear those really chimey, right? Without the lower end taking over, which I think is really cool. But that being said, I used to play like, and I inevitably knew I was wrong in some way, I just didn't know how. And it's not far off, right? But I think the reason why is because he was using the E string for the other one. So that's the way that I'll still play it like that sometimes. Like one of them, that first one, and then the second one, I'll play it the way he's playing it here, which is something like that, right? And so so the song's pretty straightforward as far as the beginning's concerned. Pretty simple, right? And then he just goes to the F note here, F sharp note, I mean. And he's right up to his like Eddie chord. And that one's first. And again right there. It's like an A shape I'm holding down here. Like I would be playing E or something. Like an E major with the A shape. But I have D in the bass. And then I play that note like we talked about. Same Eddie thing. Back to the same thing. Now same thing, a whole step low. Now this is where he talks about the super secret E chord, which is really cool. I call this C Lydian, which I mean, you know, it's so in all these things, it is contextualized as that for sure, and it is absolutely what it is. However, I think it's much easier to call that an E major with the A shape with D in the bass. Which, of course, we're talking about C Lydian here. 100% for sure, right? But to teach these things, I don't think that's the most advantageous way to go about it. Unless you have like a really deep theoretical knowledge student, which I don't find that I generally do. Now? Secret E chord. There it is. Which is really actually like a D on the bottom with a D in the root as well, with E being the lowest, which is cool because we kind of had that same kind of thing up here, right? Except for the opposite. D was our root, where we had E major as our main chord, right? And now we have E major, or D as our main chord with E as our root, right? So it's kind of calling back to what he already did, which I think is really cool. And it sets up a really nice pull back to F sharp, right? As such. So he had, I can't remember which note he ends on actually. Really nice. Again, same two chords, right? We got all this down so far. So that's I'm doing it probably wrong, but and so that's actually a really good way to look at this, is to think about it being all the same fret, right? So you're kind of doing like a B minor thing there, right? But we're doing it this finger. So we can get this note back here, this E note back here. Like that, right? And then the next one. Yeah, exactly. So it's the super secret E chord. Which is pretty much just D and E together is the way I would think about that, right? I guess you call it an 11 chord, E, F, G. A, B, C, D. Is that right? It might. I think you can call it an E11 chord. And what's funny, I just talked about this too in my video with Stephen Taranto, where that's the last chord he does at the end. But it's kind of masked because he's got his top two strings tuned down a whole step. I think. I'm pretty sure. I'm not positive of that, but that's what it sounds like to me, and that's what I wrote in the tab. So I'm hoping it's right. So this is and so that's kind of how that whole part goes. He's just walking it up. It's like a D suspension, I guess. Like, you know, G technically is kind of in the bass, so I guess we can call it suspension, right? But really, you could keep it down the whole time if you wanted to, or really just go into that third there. Oh, no, we are going to the root. Okay, so that was just F sharp to G to A, right? And then that's really taking over, isn't it? Something like that. So right, so you can play Lydian, right? Or we could think about it as like dominant, which I always try to relate this to the easier thing, right? And so in this case, so I guess I would probably think about that like. You can consider it to be, I think that's a good Lydian lick, actually. So you could play like an E dominant shape is probably what I would consider that. You could, and of course it is Lydian, quote unquote, right? Which the way that I always try to think about this now contextually, you know, over that. That's kind of the sound you're going for, right? So you wouldn't call it a minor 7. However, the way that I would think about this is kind of thinking about was thinking about this as far as like D and E are concerned, right? So D would be my minor 7, where E, I'd have E major right in front of it, right? And so I could consider, instead of thinking about it as like a Lydian lick, I could think about it as like almost like a Mixolydian shape, right? Instead of going off of you know, the Lydian side of things. Maybe Mixolydian is what we would think about, or just dominant in general, right? So something like that kind of shape. And all we have to think about is E major with our minor 7 sometimes. That's kind of really the whole thing here. And it fits nice. And of course we can end in E because we're going right back to that for the chorus. So okay, enough of that. I think that's probably, I think I've streamed for a while now. It doesn't tell me how long I've been on. Let's see. Hour and 30 minutes. Hey, that's pretty solid. I'll play a little bit more. So if anybody has any questions or anything about this, please, if you're watching it this far and you've made it this far and you're going over this analysis with me, I love questions, and I'm not saying I have all the answers, right? Maybe you have some insight on this. That'd be pretty cool. But you know, as far as you know, this is concerned, if there's anything I've gone over, anything that needs some more clarification as far as my understanding of it's concerned, I would love to talk about it. Maybe we'll go over one other thing. Let's see. Let's talk about this lick here as a good way to practice your alternate picking. I think this is a really good lick for it, and it comes from a classical song, which is really cool too. Let me. Boop. Right here. Let's see if I can find it with violin. That'd be really cool, right? Somebody playing, shredding that with violin. Really good. So inevitably, when we come to this part, it's gonna be. Oh, okay. So we had to go back up for one of them. So I was gonna say because the violin doesn't get that low, and so I'm running into the same thing. I'm doing a violin piece right now called Rondo and Intro, and I'm running into the same thing where I can't get as high as I want to, so I have to repeat some of my things, but. Anyways, this lick right here, I originally just learned it in the upper register, like this. Oh, sorry. Oh, it's... Oh, man. Oh, I can't remember it now. I think that's what it is. So it's got a lot of chromatic notes at the end there. But as you can hear, they play it in the lower register first, and then the second time through, that'd be a cool one. I haven't picked that out yet. You can see it here. Can you see my mouse? Yeah, you can see my mouse. That's cool. Yeah, it's a really cool little pattern there. I think maybe we'll pick that out next time. But there's when it comes back around, they play it in the higher register. But anyways, so this lick is actually really, it's not, I don't want to say it's easy, right? It's definitely not easy per se. But as far as our picking endeavors are concerned, it's not bad. So I'll show it in the higher register first. It's so hard to play it slow, man. It's crazy. All right, so this one particular feels like I'm catching every new string on a downstroke. So for somebody like myself, downward pick slanter, right? I'm up on the old string, down the new string, or vice versa, right? I'm outside of the strings, not in between the strings. Down, up, down on the first notes. Back to down again. So it's nice. It's restarting me every time on a downstroke. Sorry. So. It's weird because now that I've been doing it in a lower register, it involves open strings, which change the shapes a little bit. But these are all standard shapes, and we have a big build-up. I think that's what it is. Something like that. And so I would suggest this is a really good one. If you're, it's the same kind of thing as the Yngwie. Or is it higher than that? That's what it is. That lick itself right there is really easy. It's another one of these ones that are easy for the downward pick slanting, right? The Troy Grady Yngwie lick that he said he first worked out and felt comfortable for him, which was because he was escaping the strings on an upstroke, right? It's the same kind of thing with this. It's the same kind of thing. Same thing with the ussening part. Actually, that's a little bit more difficult because you're having to do 3 notes for strings, so you're inevitably having to change your angle to get that done. But let's do it in the lower register. Oh no. See what I mean? Not all the shapes change. I'm sorry. So that's the main part that's been throwing me off. To there. So I got it now. First open string. Now we have another whole hole. Another one. And then another open string. And we're up to the top. Sorry. Yeah, okay. That is definitely it. Which that's the same thing, just an octave up. But that's a really cool lick to get used to, that catching every new string on a downstroke as we descend. Which usually now, if you want to really throw yourself off, you can start on an upstroke, right? Because you have to do everything on an upstroke on the new one, which is very difficult when you go to change the strings. There's the first upstroke. You just have to really roll my hand into that new string if I'm gonna do the upstroke on it, right? That's a really tough one to do. But let me show you. I'll show you this Yngwie lick, that one, or the Troy Grady Yngwie lick, real quick, and then I'll play it for a couple minutes, and then I'm gonna hop off as we're already approaching 2 hours. I've actually got to go give a recital today for all my kid students. I play Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer a ton, so yay me. I'd rather be playing Paul Gilbert and stuff and all that, but they're always super excited and happy to go show their parents, what they've been doing and stuff, which is really cool. It's nice to be a part of that. But also, I had to hop on here at least for a little while and get my my own ambitions out. But yeah, so let's do the Yngwie lick. All right, it's a pretty easy harmonic minor thing, or however you want to see it. right? There we go already. We're just playing like A harmonic minor or E, Phrygian is like Phrygian dominant or whatever. Right, it's got a certain pull to it. So I would say that this one for me, starting this on a downstroke, that's definitely not what it is. It comes kind of out of the same kind of vein though, where we're picking enough notes to reset the picking, right? The same. I'm back to starting that new set of notes on a downstroke because my last one is an upstroke, right? Same thing here though. Upstroke on the last one. Upstroke on the last one, right? This is like those standard those kind of like Yngwie kind of licks, right? Whoops. All these licks kind of reset themselves, so you can kind of keep the picking going, even if it goes on other strings. Which at the end of what's that? That song, the solo, something like that, but he goes or something that's agreed, but it's just resetting every time. The hardest thing about that is you're doing a finger twister. And so, but the picking's really easy. Down, up, ready for the next string. Down, up, ready for the next string. You know, if you're a downward pick slanter or upward escape motion player like myself, it's pretty simple. And this lick's the same. So you can throw a couple of those in one. Oh, now I gotta remember it. Oh yeah. So this one. And it's the same thing twice, right? So that's the first time. Next time. Right? And we're right back in A minor again. Or, yeah, I guess you can say A minor. Sorry. So this whole lick here fits in a couple different spots, right? We bring it to D if we wanted to, but I would suggest thinking about it as either E or A, right? As in this case, we kind of... We think about it as E, right? But if we throw in... If we ended it there, it would be E, right? But we brought it down to A, so we've gone... So it is like an E Phrygian dominant thing. So we have that pull to our resolution of A. But this... What I'm trying to say is that you can get a lot of usage out of these same things in different places. Even if you're playing like over something E minor, that would be a fine spot for it, or something A minor, that's a fine spot for it as well, or somewhere in between there. So the lick itself, slow. And it's important we come down to this string to do that, because we have to restart it here. Which is really cool, man. I think that I saw that lick and I was like, as soon as I heard it, I was like, oh my gosh, I think I could play that, right? And I think that's what Troy was alluding to in the Cracking the Code series was this was like the first lick for him that he felt like he could really just rip through and then put in his own playing, and then that's all he would play, which is really cool. But now you see him, and that guy is incredible. I don't think he gives, just as we're talking about him, I don't think he gives himself enough credit as a player as well. Like, that guy is absolutely incredible, man. He is... Like, he plays everything that he sees. It says, I will say this, I haven't seen him play the Temu thing yet, but I'm sure he could. But most of the stuff, people come in and he's like explaining what it is, and then he can just rip through it, right? No problem. The economy stuff, doing the gypsy jazz stuff that he does, this really cool, like tremolo picking stuff that he's been going through as well, and talking about like speed picking stuff. And he's got this unbelievable insight. So he's who you should strive to be, I think, as far as like things that I'm trying to do. explanation of these picking things. He's really great. Talk about Yngwie. Figure we ended on that. So yeah, maybe I'll play a couple more minutes, but then I'm going to hop off. If you're still watching, I really appreciate you. It says I have 3 concurrent viewers right now. I don't know how, but I appreciate you guys. As I just sat here and ramble. If you watch this, popped in and out, I appreciate you so much as well. And if you're watching this back, I love you, and I really appreciate you. Please leave a comment when this video goes up if there's anything you want me to cover specifically, or if there's any tips or suggestions or anything you have. I know I got a suggestion about doing an economy picking version of let me think, the Toronto thing, Taranto, the eruption, which I haven't even got that down myself, obviously. That's really hard with a bigger pick though. What's up? So tough, man. Trying to flip your picking over every time, but you could do that. How could I guess you could economy pick that. Maybe we could change that somewhere else though. No, let's do maybe we can go. So let's change a. So that's what we'd have to do, right? Yeah, I'll have to work on that. But somebody wanted me to do the economy picking version of that, which that would be pretty cool, right? I always think economy picking sounds like sweeping though, and I'm always have like a certain feeling about it. And if you're looking for an economy picking riff, I guess it's not really economy picking per se, but it's like it's down, down, up, which kind of is, I guess. But there's Yngwie's. What is that? Bigfoot, right? The solar that I've been trying to alternate pick it for a long time. It's really difficult. Something like that, but he plays. Which is still cool, you know. He plays it a lot better than I do there. I have a hard time making it go the right speed with the sweeping. It's so tough for me. It's the same thing with Temu's stuff. That stuff, if I have to alternate, not really alternate pick, but like do hammer-ons and pull-offs and kind of alternate pick. And maybe we'll do the last little bit of it. We see it instantly speeds up, right? But if I do the sweeping, I find myself just going way too fast. Yeah, but that riff itself, you know, is a sweeping riff for me. I just pick and wait. That's what I tell my students is I pick, wait for the hammer on while I'm against the next string. Kind of like that. All right, let me hop off here. I appreciate all you guys. if you're watching this, and I hope to do this a lot more. I want to do this. I'll make other videos as well, but I need more suggestions. Like the Taranto thing, I kind of like, or Toronto Taranto. I feel like I have no idea how to say his last name, and I feel like I'm just butchering it. But I keep saying it 2 ways, which it can't be both ways. Jeez. But my that kind of came out of nowhere, because I was like, oh my gosh, he's alternate picking. Something that's tapped. That's so cool to me. That's usually what we go over here on the channel, is alternate picking everything, right? It's kind of our thing. And so the 2-way pick slanting is what we usually talk about, and getting better at that. So, and I will say this last thing I'll say: if you were trying to get better at your just alternate picking in general, I saw a really good. I think you should go back in the video a little bit and use those couple licks that I showed. From Rage Against the Lost Penny, or Rage Over a Lost Penny, whatever it is, and that Yngwie lick. But those are really great ones. But also, you could even just play your major scale and double pick each note. I think that's a really good way to get your hand used to doing this, while also not really focusing too much on this hand. You're having to change the strings on the proper strokes and stuff, but it takes your understanding away from that. You're doing 1, 2, 3, so you're having to catch that new string on an upstroke, and then new string on a downstroke. That's what I would practice that. That's a really cool way to get your hand going at speed, while also still working on things you need to, without having to really focus on that too much. All right, you dudes have a good day, and I will see you guys next time. Boom.